right, welcome back everyone to the Gaia podcast. Today we have a very special guest. You may know her from the Twitter account A Simple Sun God. And Helios, how about you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Helios, and I am also known as Sun Gay, the Sun Lesbian, I don't know. I have a lot of nicknames, Duke of the Dykes, whatever. Call me whatever you want.
I love it. So, how about you tell me about your character? Like, where'd the idea come from, what your goal was with it, what inspired you?
Sure. So, I originally started following a bunch of the God Squad accounts, including the OG Mother Gaia
What a
account.
throwback.
Yeah, rest in peace. Um, and I made an account for Moses because I thought this is so original and no one has done this. And a day after I started, I got 100 followers. I saw there was another Moses that was like way more popular than I was, and I was like, you know what? I can do better than this. I'm gonna dive back into my. So, okay, this is like a weird story, but when I was in fourth grade, we read the kid-friendly version of the Odyssey.
Interesting. I didn't know
And
that there was a kid-friendly version of the Odyssey.
I don't know, I went to Quaker school in Pennsylvania, so, you get it.
Yes, definitely.
So, we had to pick a god or a goddess to just be called by our teacher for the rest of the because Quaker school. And I wanted to be a god, even though all the girls in my class wanted to be goddesses. So I was like, you know what? All the good gods have been taken. I'm going to look up in this book. I'm going to put my finger down on the page and find the first god, and that's what I'll be called. And it was Helios, the sun god. And I was like, cool. So I did a lot of research about Helios when I was in fourth grade. And it became kind of a joke in my family. My mom would call me Helios sometimes just because it was so absurd that, like, my teacher and friends would call us all by Greek god names. So that's what inspired me to make the parody account with a twist
awesome.
of, being a lesbian and stuff.
Right, of course. I think it fits your personality very well.
Thank you.
You're from my experiences with you, you've always been very bright and sunny. And when I wanted to introduce your character into my comics, I asked you if there was anything that you wanted to have like stick out about the great sun god, and your response was, "Can you make him gay?"
Yes.
And I loved it. And now Helios is one of the most like fun and energetic characters in my comics, and I thank you deeply for bringing him into it.
That's very sweet. Thank you so much for incorporating me into your comics. I always love, reading your comics, and especially when you did the Pride Month one where Helios like runs into the block and is like, "It's Pride Month." That's my favorite one, but I'm a little biased. But yeah, your comics have always made me laugh, and so I'm glad that we've actually become friends on Twitter, but also kind of in real life too through that.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
power of the internet.
I know, right? It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, so as we touched on it before, you are a lesbian,
I am.
and I wanted to discuss with you some of the struggles, like daily ups and downs of being a part of the LGBTQ plus community.
Sure. Well, I guess the struggle I get the most, or the thing that I have to deal with the most, is so I am a very like masculine, butch, dykey lesbian. Just to
Right.
flat out say, I have short hair. I wear very masculine clothing. I think gendered clothing is pretty stupid, but like, if
I
you're gonna
agree.
like be to understand what I look like most, I would have to say I wear men's clothes most of the time. So
Yeah.
when I go to the women's room, I get a lot of looks. I get yelled at. I get people tell me, like, women will tell me I'm in the wrong bathroom, even though, honey, I have the same parts as you do. I'm just trying to
Wow.
pee. Like,
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that
That's
happens.
I've always heard about stories of things happening like that, but I've never actually met someone who goes through that. And that's typical with like trans people trying to find their identities. But you are just a lesbian woman, and that happens to you. That's so wild.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it used to really bother me, but it doesn't so much anymore. I don't really care. Like, I know who I am. I know that I'm just trying to use the bathroom, and, you know, they can get all pissy and mad at me if they want, but I don't mind.
That's awesome. So, earlier this week, I was hanging out with a couple friends, and it's September. It's halfway through, and at this time, I personally like to start feeling a little spooky. So, I was rewatching The Haunting of Hill House. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a character. It's based on a book from like the 40s or 50s or whatever, and there's a character in it, and her name is Theodora, and she's a lesbian, and she's my all-time favorite like gay character in pop culture. And I was wondering what your favorite gay pop culture characters are.
Well, let me think about that. First of all, I've actually seen Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I was just...
What do you think of it?
I liked it.
I liked it a lot, too.
Yeah, I actually just looked it up to, like... Because I remembered the title, but I couldn't remember if I'd seen it, but now...
Did you remember it? Like, you weren't sure if you saw it before, and then once you saw it, then you were like, oh yeah, I watched that entire series.
Yes. Well, I didn't see the whole series. I've seen episodes, but, like, not... I haven't seen the whole series, but I've definitely seen some episodes. I think it was during a time in my life where I was, like, constantly high. So...
I feel that.
So, I don't know. It was a blur. So characters. So, okay, this person, she's not like, well, I guess they never really say if she's a lesbian or not, but Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs, she's an FBI agent, and she's played by Jodie Foster, so automatically I'm like, she's a lesbian. But she, because Jodie Foster's
fair
a lesbian.
reasoning.
Yeah. So, Silence of the Lambs is my favorite movie of all time. I think it's cinematically gorgeous. Blah, blah, blah. I love the books, too. But I think Clarice Starling is so powerful because, like, they don't really give her a sexuality in it. And but she's still like the only female in this very male dominated workplace. So she kind of inspires me, but I like to pretend she's a lesbian.
I think that's completely reasonable.
I guess if we were gonna go actual lesbians, I love Nikki from Orange is the Black.
Yes. Her character's so fascinating.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because you really get to see her go through like all this like emotional turmoil, and she's really just trying to like, she acts very tough, but you know that she's really just trying to fit in where she can.
Yeah.
It's very emotional.
Yeah. And what I think is really interesting about her is that she had like a great upbringing. Like she had problems with her family, but like her family was very well off. And
not someone that you typically see in prison. Exactly.
So it's that whole kind of thing, which I think is kind of becoming a real life issue, is like heroin. All of like the rich kids in the suburbs are doing it now. And I feel like that wasn't how it used to be, or at least that's what I've read in articles. So I think that kind of brought to light that issue. But beside that, she is also like, I don't know, I like how she's very masculine but wears makeup.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's not something that you see a lot. Like, there was another very like butch character. Is it Boo?
Yeah, Big Boo.
Big Boo. doesn't wear makeup at all, and she's also one of the like prominent lesbians on the show.
She's also my favorite. I love Leah Delaria. She is the Lord of the lesbians.
Yes. Do you follow her on like all of her social media?
Yes.
She's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I actually when she came out with that, she came out because has a gorgeous voice, and she's like a very talented jazz singer. She came out with an entire album of David Bowie covers, and I'm like a diehard David Bowie fan. And when that came out, I was like, I immediately bought it. I was like, this is amazing. She's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to check that out because I haven't heard of that. And I love Bowie. I remember when it came out that he died. And my birthday is like a week after his, so like he died, and then on my birthday, my mom bought me the Black Star album, and I was so happy, but my heart was like crushed, and so that's all I listened to for like 3 months actually.
Are you an Aquarius?
No, I'm a Capricorn.
When's your birthday?
January 17th.
I'm January 28th.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, we'll have to have like a birthday party celebration.
Yeah, we'll go back to Pennsylvania for that.
I don't even know if I'll be able to. Wait, yours is the 28th. Mine is the 17th. Actually, I might still be here. I'm hopefully leaving to study abroad in England on January 31st.
Oh, wow, that's dope. Well, you're going to have to come down to DC and party before you do that.
I will 100% do that. Christmas break, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, come on down.
Awesome. And that kind of going back to the characters that they don't really give any sexuality to. The first one that popped into my mind was Ripley from Alien.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that when they wrote the script for that, Ripley didn't have gender-specific pronouns because they were hoping that it could, like, whoever was best playing that character. Obviously, Sigourney Weaver got the role.
Right.
And she's fantastic. I love her in everything, and I can totally see Ripley as being, like kind of, like, on the same level. So I love talking about movies. We'll have to like talk another time about just like go back and forth about awesome movies.
Let's do it.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a film fraternity in college, so
that's awesome.
I'm always down. I'm always down to talk about film.
I wish we had a film fraternity at my school.
We'll talk.
Maybe
you
I'll
can.
Start one.
Yeah, you can start. We'll talk after this. You can bring it to your college.
Awesome. All right. So the next thing that I have written down is something that I saw on Twitter. It's that Indonesia is changing their child marriage laws so that the minimum age for women to get married is the age of 19, which is kind of a really big step up because it used to be 16.
Oh, wow.
And and that's even funny that they're going for 19 because the minimum in the United States is 18.
Right.
So that's even like a little bit after, and they're hoping that it prevents people from selling their daughters into marriages for like class advancement and money and stuff. I have a statistic here that says that 25% of women in Indonesia are married before the age of 18.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Let me look up real quick the population of Indonesia, because I imagine it's pretty... Wow. Okay. So the population of Indonesia is 264 million people.
Whoa.
That's not all too far off from the United States population.
Yeah.
So assume half of that is female, and then so that gives like 132,000. Break it down, that's like probably like 35 million women every year getting married before they turn 18.
That's That's so, I can't even like process that.
I know, and that's why I knew that I had to write that down, because like that that sounds like something like Middle Ages type of thing, like people selling their kids so that they can get higher classes and have their family be like higher with advancements and everything.
Yeah,
But
it's very
the fact that they're
Shakespearean.
taking steps is like that's awesome, and it was actually like a unanimous vote. Like everyone decided that that was what it was going to be. So I just thought like what's your opinion on their choice of raising it to 19 versus the United States being 18?
I mean, I think that's a huge step and that they're actually taking initiative to ensure that like little kids won't get sold into
Mm-hmm.
marriage. Um because I think if they did 18, it would still be too close to adolescence, I guess, in a
Mm-hmm.
way. So they want to like make sure that these are women. Like these are adults.
Yeah, these are people like making this choice.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not gonna like stop every instance, but that's gonna be pretty significant. Once I'm 19 right now, and I still haven't figured everything out, but I feel a lot more um, like in tune with who I am and the decisions that I make on a daily basis than when I was 16. Like those are the formative years of people's lives, and maybe once they turn 19, they're gonna have more of a mindset and a control over who they are, that they'll be able to be like, no, I don't want to marry this guy. I want to marry for love instead of money.
Yeah. I mean, listen, look, like I'm 23 years old. I'm about to be 24 in January. I don't Am I allowed to curse on this show?
Sure.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I am an idiot. Okay? Like, I don't know anything about taxes. I just learned how to pay bills the other day. I
Nice.
definitely could not get married anytime soon and make a conscious decision to like I mean, I have a dog and like but okay, I
And
probably
she's adorable.
yes, Winnie's great. But I like that's about it. I can't even barely take care of myself. Like I put my whole heart and soul into taking care of my dog, and that's all I know how to do. Otherwise, I'm a complete and total idiot. I don't think I'll be any smarter until I'm at least 40 years old. So,
That's 100% fair. Like there are even like 40-year-olds that don't have it together.
oh, I'm aware.
We'll actually cover that in a topic later.
Yeah.
um, but I agree. Like people. That's like that opens like a whole like slew of other issues. Like, why is it that we're just learning how to do taxes or bills when we're 23 years old and we've already been out in the world for a couple years?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, I feel like that really it should be at least touched upon in high school.
Yeah.
Like, for college, you're going to a place and you're trying to learn something about a specific thing. When you go to high school, everyone needs to understand how to do taxes. Everyone needs to understand how to pay bills, no
Yeah.
matter what position you're in. So I think they should definitely. I forget what I called it. I had an idea for like a class, and I actually proposed it to my principal when I was in high school. I was like, hey, why don't we put together a class called like Life 101, and it just teaches you how to do like basic stuff that you need to know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm a film major. Why did I
Yeah.
spend an entire semester learning that?
It's also important because like a lot of kids like don't go to college and might end
Mm-hmm.
up working, I don't know, starting their own company, or maybe they go, want to work in like just putting this out there like a grocery store for a couple years or something like that. They still have to pay taxes on that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still struggle with taxes, and like my mom works for a credit union, and she's helped me through it every year, but it's definitely not something I'd know how to do on my own.
Oh, me either. My mom helps me too, and she had nothing to do with any kind of financial ability.
So, breaking away from something so serious and thought-provoking, I figured that both of us, being fans of Philadelphia, that we could take a minute to recognize that football season has started and the Eagles have been playing fairly well over the last 2 weeks.
1-1.
I really don't. I actually wrote that exactly. Like, that's the third point under the Eagles column. It's 1-1. It's been pretty good. I honestly, like, when they played the Falcons on Sunday, I was stressed, to say the least. I was on the edge of my seat. Our players were getting, like, beaten up like every single play. But probably definitely the biggest change to the team being that this is our first season without Nick Foles.
Yes. Yeah. But Deshaun Jackson's back.
Yes, I was really excited about that. I saw them post that on Instagram, and I took a screenshot of it, and I sent it to my dad and my aunt. And I was like, Deshaun's back, yes!
Yeah. My family, so it's just so my whole family comes from St. Louis, but my mom and I are the only ones who like live around Philly. So she doesn't care about football. She just wants us to win, and that's about it.
That's fair.
I didn't really have anyone to celebrate with when he came back, except for you. I think we might have shared a couple things on Twitter about it. So you got to know that you're my number one go-to with Eagles stuff.
I saw that is she your girlfriend now? Is that official?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I saw that you are like converting your girlfriend into an Eagles fan.
She hates football. Like, she hates football. And so she literally says to me the other day, she's like, I hate football, so I might as well root for the Birds. And I was like, here, I'm getting on one knee right now. I'm about to propose to you because that was the hottest thing anyone's ever said to me.
That's incredible. You know what? That's kind of like, there's multiple situations where I've interacted with that. Like, my mom originally, like, she's a Green Bay Packers fan.
Ooh.
And I know. And so, but it's like her dad was a Packers fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just kind of like, she went with it. She likes the Packers, but she's always been like interested in football, but definitely didn't take it as seriously as my dad did. And so when my mom married him, she was like, I can root for the Eagles because I live near Philadelphia and that's the game that's usually on. But when the Packers come around and play against the Eagles, all bets are off.
That's funny.
And it's kind of like the same thing with my girlfriend. Like, she was, her dad's a Bears fan. And
the Bears.
She never really, the Bears. The guy that runs the Jesus account is also a Bears fan. And I don't know if you saw it, but I made a tweet that was saying it was like the Bears are playing Green Bay today, and my mom is a Green Bay fan, and my dad my sister can't talk. My mom is a Green Bay fan, girlfriend's a Bears fan, so I'm just gonna be stuck between a very heated rivalry, and the guy that runs the Jesus account. Well, not anymore.
Ugh.
But he was like, if your girlfriend is the Bears fan, then you should marry her. And if your mom's the Green Bay fan, you can always drop her off at a home.
Oh my god, that's so funny. My god.
She just told me that she wants me to like buy her some Eagles merch for Christmas, and I was like, gladly.
Your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Ugh, that's so cute.
Right? I assume you watched the game on Sunday?
I did not watch the whole thing. I watched the very end. What did I do
Did
on
you
Sunday?
happen?
I had to take a yoga class.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. I was
How'd
not
that
very
go?
zen because I was concerned for my boys in green. Well, they were wearing. Were they in red that day?
They were
No,
wearing white.
white.
Yeah.
Um,
Red.
I don't know. Sometimes they have them special. Oh my gosh. Well, that was not English. Sometimes they have those special uniforms. Like, I guess they have the pink ones for breast
Yeah.
cancer awareness. Okay, I don't know why I said red. Edit that out. Boys in green, but they were wearing white. I watched the tail end. So my roommate is a Giants, and he
Ooh.
has fantasy, but I don't
Mhm.
know anything about like he has.
Mhm.
Except for he does have what's his name? Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I have him on my fantasy team.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. He was like talking about it and like praying to the fantasy gods about it. It was a very interesting interaction. But I did watch the tail end and right like I don't know, it got exciting for a second in the fourth quarter and then it was like, never mind.
Yeah. Do you happen to see the Carson Wentz throw that he made to Mac Hollins where they spent like a good like 5 minutes like replaying it to see if the ball left his hand by the time his knee touched the ground?
Oh wow. I didn't see that.
You'll have to look that up because they like they didn't even show the next play. That's how like intense they were watching that play.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely worth the watch. And honestly, it's the beginning of the season. It's okay that they lost because they played well. It's just the Falcons played a little bit better.
Yeah.
And also, most of our team was beaten up. So,
Yeah, literally. But we're pretty evenly matched with the Falcons, I think, which like
yeah.
if you go to baseball, like we're not anywhere close to the Braves. So
No.
which like I'm a diehard Phillies fan, like baseball's my favorite sport. So, I mean I love football too, don't get me wrong, but baseball
Right.
is my big sport. So, I was like I would just like to beat Atlanta in something right now, please.
Yeah, no, I was really hopeful for the Phillies at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's almost 50-50 now, isn't it? It's like 72 to 73 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I gotta say though, what's his name? Adam Hazley.
Mm-hmm.
This kid is really proving himself this season. Like
Oh, yeah.
he's so good. I
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be the next Chase Utley. I have hope for
I hope
him.
so.
I think he's really
It is
gonna do
Utley.
well. I know. Did you see that Utley has a new show for the Dodgers?
Really?
Yeah. And he like tweeted about it and he's in like a blue suit or something and he goes, like my new uniform, and I'm like, bitch, you should be in red.
Yep, I agree. I love Utley. I actually got to meet him at a game once. And it was
What?
incredible. Yeah, I was like 8 years old, and I was in like Cub Scouts, and we went to a Phillies game, and I was like super into it. I was very excited,
Aw.
and I got to meet him. He signed a baseball and everything, so
That's
it was very,
awesome.
very fun.
That's real cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right. So, next section. This is this is the first reoccurring section that I am going to try and make like a regular part of the podcast. It's called What Did He Do? And this is the part where we discuss stupid things that the Tangerine in the White House has done over the week. The first thing just happened today on September 17th. He was talking in New Mexico, which, keep in mind, he lost by 8 points in 2016 because a majority of New Mexico is Hispanic. That being said, he gets in front of his rally in front of a group of people holding Latinos for Trump signs. And he starts talking about Steve Cortez, which he later says that Steve Cortez looks more like a wasp than he does.
Oh my God.
For our non, what would that be, like educated or our ill-informed listeners, a wasp is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant looking person, and he calls a Hispanic man a wasp in front of everyone, and then he looks at him from across the stadium and goes, "Who do you love more, the country or Hispanics?"
I have no words.
I don't know. I was watching that video because I feel like that was like really the first time that he was like trying to hold back like a face palm, because even he realized just how stupid that question is.
Right.
And apparently Cortez says that he loves the country more than Hispanics. And then Trump's response to that was, "I don't know, I think I love Hispanics more." Which, that has no really like good answer to that question. It shouldn't have even been asked.
That is absolutely horrifying. And the thing is, like, compared to the things he's said and done, that's very mild. And
oh yeah,
like, just think about that for a second. Like, that is mild compared to things our president has said and done. And that's just fucking terrible. Like, that whole thing is just fucking awful. And it's mild. Like, I can't... It's bad. What?
It is.
We're fucked.
It really sucks to laugh at that. But, that's what it is. People are, like, he was elected to the office of president, and that's how he's acting?
Yeah.
Like, And speaking of things that he's said and now done, the pork industry, he back in one of his election like campaign things was that he was going to impose a law that would allow the pork industry to be responsible for inspecting itself. So it would take away that responsibility from the USDA.
That's disgusting.
And that, and not even just that it's the pork industry, like it's specifically like pork, like meat packing. So like people that are butchering and shipping off the meat to different parts of the country are now able to self-regulate, which on any corporate level, self-regulation is a very bad idea.
Did we learn nothing? Did we learn nothing from the early 1900s?
No, apparently not.
Did muckraking not exist? Like, I am shook at that because literally, oh my God. Well, first of all, most of y'all know that I'm Jewish, but I do not keep kosher, but I am a vegetarian. So it's like, it doesn't affect me, but still, that's fucking gross. Like,
yeah, because like they can do whatever they want then, and it's not even like they're like, that's just an idea that he's like bringing up now. That's something he's been fighting for since 2016, and it's actually getting put into place like later this year. That's just
awful. I'm gonna tell my mom to like not eat bacon for the rest of her life because that's just so bad. It's probably someone's fucking foot.
Ugh.
I'm
surprised.
God, this guy. What? Just because Trump steaks didn't work and didn't doesn't mean that everyone else should self-regulate.
Trump has told the Democrats that they should look into Mr. and Mrs. Obama's Netflix and book deals. He's claiming that the couple are they used millions of taxpayer dollars to cover up sexual harassment issues during their administration, and that what else was it? That they are getting money from Netflix so that they can continue to do that kind of stuff.
All right. I have so many things to say. First of all, he should be one to talk.
You know what? I wrote it down right there. I'll have to send you a picture of it later because I wrote it down. I was like, she's going to say he should be one to talk.
Wow. You called it right there. Yeah, he is speaking of fucking pork, he's a swine. That's horrific. And oh my God, where do I even start? Okay, so there's literally evidence of him talking about harassing women. And he also tried to pay off Stormy Daniels.
Oh yeah.
And that's in the public, and he has been outwardly saying that Brett Kavanaugh is innocent. That's been his latest thing on that. Is that I know I want to vomit every time I say his name, but
he's a disgusting piece of human garbage.
Yeah, a swine. I also think
pigs have more class than him.
I would say so. Also, Trump is using taxpayer money to go golfing every day.
Yeah, wasn't it they were using money to keep people in the military at Trump's hotels in Ireland.
Yeah.
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 That's illegal.
Yeah, and it's getting out of hand. I have a buddy who works for a very prominent news agency. I can't, say which, but one of her assignments for the day was to literally follow him around a golf course.
Wow.
And I'm just so you're not going to the White House? She's like, no, we're going to this place in Virginia. And I was like, what? It's getting out of hand, and that's what he's using. He's using national park money for that too. He's dipping into all of the wrong funds. And if he says he's as rich as he is, then he should just be using his own goddamn money. But so I think that he's incredibly wrong and disgusting for accusing the Obamas, who are so outwardly against sexual harassment. And Joe Biden, he was the vice president for them, and he had that whole stand up campaign, which he had his fair share of accusations. But that administration was very dedicated to fighting harassment and getting it out into the public so that there were more places for victims and survivors to go. So
I think that's very important.
Yeah. So I just think that Trump is just finding more and more things to get angry about, and
it's
nuts. Yeah.
I agree. There's a lot of speculation about that, is that he's using it as a possible distraction because people keep wanting to investigate into the Mueller report, as well as people starting to come at Kavanaugh again.
Right.
And so he's just trying to point his finger and blame someone else for issues that are happening that don't concern him whatsoever.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he's delusional. And I think that Carrie Fisher, God bless and rest her soul, may her memory be a blessing, was right when she said that she has this like great quote that was like, I know what, cocaine addicts look and sound like, and Donald Trump is one of them. So I
God bless her.
Yeah, I know. She was taken too soon from us.
I agree.
But honestly, I think she's in a much better place than. Although I would like to see what she would have to say these days,
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many celebrities that are like against him, and like you have Chrissy Teigen and Bette Midler and Leah DeLaria.
Oh yeah.
So.
There are a lot of people that passed in, like, do you remember 2016 was like the year that like every celebrity died?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that I feel would be very like outspoken and would be put in under a lot of like scrutiny had they still been alive today, like Robin Williams or David Bowie or Alan Rickman, like just even like George Michael, like everyone would be so like outspoken against him.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could see what they were doing now, because they're probably, milk and honeys for them.
And like obviously like I'm a big Bowie fan, and I actually have a black star tattoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
that's awesome.
But it's funny because like his persona, the Thin White Duke, was a fascist. And but like in the past, I guess 20 years, he was married to like a black Muslim woman. He was like an open like bisexual man. And like he
very often just androgynous.
Yeah, I would just love to see like him tear Trump a new one.
I miss him.
Me too.
Well, that wraps up the what did he do segment. These are just a couple like fun occurrences. Did you know that we have come in contact with the first interstellar comet to ever be observed in the solar system that comes from outside the reaches of the solar system?
Oh man, we have to make a parody account for it right away. You have to put it in your comics.
I really do, I guess.
Yeah.
It's called Oumuamua.
Oumuamua?
Yes, it was originally like discovered in 2017.
Yeah.
Like they got like a reading of it, and that was it. They couldn't see it. But like this week, we finally got a picture of it.
Wow.
And it's funny, it wasn't even like found by like NASA or SpaceX or anything. It was an amateur astronomer named Gennady Borisov. I believe he's Ukrainian, and he was just like hanging out with his telescope, and obviously it wasn't like a backyard telescope. It was one that like observes multiple spectrums of light,
right?
And he created a composite image of it using different spectrums, and it was incredible. It's you can barely see it, but you can see like the different streaks of light that don't line up perfectly around it, so it kind of looks like it's something out of like an 80s movie.
Wow, that's epic.
It's very cool.
I can't wait to look it up after this.
One of my like most like favorite parts of that story is that proves that in other solar system there are like bodies in space that follow the same rules as our solar system.
Right.
So, and like it was, they believe that it was too big to be held by a star's gravitational pull. So most likely what happened was the star died or something like that, and the gravitational pull became a lot less, so when it spun around it just kind of like kept going, and it's gonna be like making its way like past the sun in like it'll most likely become a comet in our solar system, which that's crazy. That's, as far as we know, that's the first time that's ever happened.
That's nuts.
I
That's
know.
so
I think
cool.
It opens up the possibility of aliens.
Oh, 100%. Well, wasn't today supposed to be the Area 51 thing, or is that tomorrow?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's the next topic.
Oh.
September 20th, when this episode is airing, our brothers and sisters are out in Nevada storming Area 51. I don't know if it's actually going to happen.
I think that it died. Like, the meme died. And then...
I think the meme died.
But it's being resurrected.
Uh-huh. Like, I actually have a friend who texted me. He was like, hey, are you going to the Storm in the Area 51 thing? And I was like, oh, yeah, man, totally. And he was like, no, but, like, really? And I was like, no, I'm not going. Are you kidding me? I'm in college. And he was like, oh, well, you should come. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, and then he sent me a picture of his plane ticket. He's flying to Nevada tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
Because he's going to go try and raid Area 51. So I know that he's trying to. I don't know if he's going to, like, get there and be depressed because no one's there. But, that, like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm genuinely concerned because the government can kill you.
Yeah. Well,
like,
didn't those 2 YouTubers get arrested? They were, like, from the Netherlands or something. And it happened, like, over the weekend or something. But they got arrested for trying to go into Area 51. And I'm just like, I'm sure that, like, originally it could have been enough people to actually storm it, because I'm sure they outnumbered the United States military. But, like, now it's probably just going to be, like, I would be shocked if there were even 10 people.
Yeah. I'm my hope is that it actually happens.
Me too. Is it bad that I want to see it happen?
No, not at all, because I so want it to happen. I think it would be incredible. Plus, why? I want to know why Area 51 is the most heavily guarded secret that is known to the United States public. Like what do they have in there that is so, like, heavily guarded?
It's probably like in, I don't know if you watch American Horror Story, which, shameless plug, it's starting tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need to catch up on it. I still haven't finished Asylum.
Is that all, like, you've seen the first season and then, like, a little bit of Asylum?
Yeah, I watched Murder House and loved it, and then Asylum wasn't my favorite, and I just haven't been able to get through it yet.
It's kind of nuts. I think you'll like season 3.
That's what I've heard. That's Coven?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
But in the last season, basically, like, all of the nuclear bombs on Earth go off, and all of, like, the rich people have these bunkers that the government, like you could, like, buy a ticket and, like, be in this, like, crazy nice bunker. And, like, maybe that's what it is. Because I know they do, like, nuclear testing out in the desert and shit. Like, they test all these fake towns and stuff. I don't know. I want it to happen. I want to know what's inside. I am not going to be surprised if people get arrested tomorrow. Or today. I guess
Friday.
It's today.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see any news coverage that they get on it.
As a journalist, me the fuck too.
And now we have something that I find fascinating, so I thought that I would put it in the podcast. I did it last week. This is called This Week in History. It's just a quick little recap of some of the most interesting things that I found have happened from, like, over the last week. I thought that I would share it with you and our viewers.
Sure.
So, kind of throwback to when we were talking about the Eagles. uh, or September 15th in 1943 was the official creation of the football team, the Steagles. Do you happen to know what the Steagles are?
Steeler Eagles?
Yep, that's exactly what it was. In 1943, the NFL suffered a big hit to all of its teams because most of its players were being drafted into the military because of the United States emergence into World War II.
Right.
So the two Pennsylvania teams that were established in the 30s, 10 years prior, decided that they were going to merge, and they created the Steagles, which, if you were to go online and look up original Steagles like merchandise, there's people like selling it for like $25,000.
Holy shit.
I know, like it's a major collectible item. It only lasted until like 1946. It was like a 3-year thing, and it was big. I forget where they played. I think they went back and forth from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia.
That's nuts.
But I know it was wild. World War II was a crazy time for every country that was involved in multiple ways than one.
And it's funny because you think about, like, the rivalry we have with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so funny.
That
Yeah, that we, like, I mean, it might not have existed yet. It probably hadn't. But, like, just thinking about, like...
They didn't have divisions back then. So the Pennsylvania teams were rivals. But at the time, the Steelers sucked. Like they were so bad that they were in danger of actually like the team losing its franchise and like disappearing. And so when they combined into the Steagles, and it put the fan base together. After it was done, people were like deciding on what players they wanted to follow. So a lot of them ended up going back to Pittsburgh, and that's how the Steelers had such a large fan base.
Wow.
Yeah, they stole from Philadelphia.
Ugh. Well, fun fact, I went to, what was it, middle school with Art Rooney's grandkid. One of his grandkids.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, that's lucky. I wish I knew some, like, famous grandkids.
I know a couple. Ed Snyder's grandkid, too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another Philadelphia fact. September 17th, today, is the anniversary of the Constitution being signed.
Ooh.
Yes, City Hall. It was, I guess it's Independence Hall, but it was called just City Hall back then.
Have you been to Independence Hall?
I love it. It's so much. It's so beautiful. I think the last time that I was there was like freshman year of high school. It's been a while, but it's every time that I'm in Philly, I like to pass it just because it's so like pretty to look at.
Have you ever gone to the Christmas market outside of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'm homesick now. Yeah.
I was gonna say, when's December coming?
I know. I'm homesick.
Vanessa Williams becomes the first African American woman to win Miss America in 1983.
Really?
Yes, wasn't it? And you know what the sad thing about that is?
What?
She was also the first woman that won Miss America to give up her crown.
Why'd she give up her?
Because she used to be a photographer's assistant, and she, when she was an assistant, like 2 years before she won, she was posing for a shoot where it was her with another woman, and they were completely nude, and the photographer sold the photos to Penthouse, which is a magazine, obviously.
What the fuck?
And Penthouse announced that they were releasing the photos, and I think one of the most interesting things about that is that, well, there's two things. Penthouse, to this day, has not spent more money on photos than what they paid for the pictures of Vanessa Williams.
Wow.
But the most interesting part is that Hugh Hefner, founder of Playboy, said that the release of those photos was immoral and improper.
Well, yes, I agree.
I 100%.
And I think he's right, because he probably knows that it was non-consensual. Mm-hmm. But that's interesting that he, of all people.
That's why I put it in there, is like, Hugh Hefner, of all people, are telling you that what you're doing is improper. That's when you know you messed up.
Yeah. Wow.
Friday is the 400-year anniversary of when Ferdinand Magellan left on his voyage to circumnavigate the globe for the first time ever.
Magellan?
Yes, in 1519.
What a weird year.
I know, right?
Like, it was like, that, was it your last episode where you were, like, talking about the 21s? Like,
yeah.
2,100 yeah, what? Like, 1519 just doesn't have a ring to it. Like,
no. I also I realized that I did the math wrong. That's actually 500 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said 400. It was 500. That's like half a millennium.
Well, Magellan, we will always appreciate you more than Christopher Columbus. But
thanks for proving that the Earth is round.
Oh my God, you of all people, of course.
I absolutely I kind of make a joke out of it, and so does Spirit.
Yeah.
But I genuinely can't stand flat earthers.
Me too.
I think the concept of it is so absolutely mind-boggling. Like, I don't understand how, even after there's proof that it was made 500 years ago, that they're still trying to dispute that.
I want to send them all, literally every single last flat earther on this round earth, to fucking space, to the moon. Do they think the moon is flat too?
No, actually, they it kind of goes along with there was a guy that tweeted at them. He was like, "Hey, if the Earth is flat, then is Mars or the moon flat?" And they were like, "No, because as we've observed, we have proof that the moon and Mars are both round." And I just, that sentence, like them saying that they have proof that the moon and Mars are both round, but the Earth is not, is like how does that just go over someone's head?
Dunces. They're all dunces.
And that's why the Flat Earth Society wears a dunce cap in my comics.
Amen to that.
And the final this week in history, on Thursday in 1850 is when the United States officially abolished the slave trade in Washington, D.C. I thought that you would enjoy that fact.
Interesting. So,
yeah.
So slavery still existed, but just not the trade?
Right, not the slave trade. And actually, it was exactly 30 years or 20 years prior, in 1830, that it was. I don't want to say the name of the group because it had an inappropriate name in it, but it was a convention of black slave Americans that went to DC and fought them to abolish slavery. And 20 years later, in 1850, they stopped the slave trade. Obviously, it took almost another 20 years to abolish slavery as a whole. But it's funny that it started with, like, I think it was like 40 people that, like, escaped slavery and then all, like, marched up to DC to fight it. And I feel like they need a lot more recognition.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like especially on that day, it should be recognized.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna keep my eye out Thursday for for that because, you know, as someone who lives in DC, I think that's something that shouldn't be overlooked.
Definitely.
Wow.
I'll for those listening, there's going to be a link to that. It's a Today in History from historynet.com, and that's where I get a lot of that information. So that's going to be in the description. After this, I'll text you the list so you can take a look at it, and then also check out things that have also happened that we just didn't mention. There's a lot of stuff in the 1800s that happened like this week that surround slavery, so definitely give that a look.
Definitely.
All right, and I think that brings us to the end of our podcast. Is there anything that you would like to say to our listeners? You can plug yourself or just, say whatever you want.
Yeah, this podcast is sponsored by Mother Gaia on Redbubble. So go to redbubble.com/Mother Gaia. And I don't even know if that's right, but is it right?
Yeah.
And buy your merch. If I hadn't have just lost my job, I would be buying Mother Gaia merch right now. But once I start working again, I'm going to buy out the whole store, so you better act fast. Because things are going to go quickly. They will sell out. So buy your merch today. Redbubble.com/Mother Gaia. Go do it now.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I was going to throw that at the end of what you were going to plug. So let me just plug you. Twitter.com/ASimpleSunGod. Go follow Helios because she's fantastic. She'll brighten your day. And she's a whole lot of fun just to see her points of views on things that go on. So check her out, follow her, retweet her stuff. And then if you want, go to the Mother Gaia store and pick up some stuff.
Yeah, you're so sweet.
So are you. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, this was fun.
This was a lot of fun. I'll definitely have you come back.
Oh, thank you so much.
This was incredible. I'm so glad. I was honestly last week I was expecting to do a full hour, and I think I recorded for like 50 minutes, and then I kind of just ran out of stuff to say.
It's hard to do it by yourself.
It is. I found that out the hard way, but having you here has made it exponentially easier. And honestly, having the conversations that we've had, it's gonna make editing a lot easier. Like, I was cutting out stuff just because I was like talking stupid, but I'm excited to go and like listen to this again. This was a lot of fun, and I hope that a lot of people enjoy it. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you all later.
Bye.